Geno Smith, Jameis Winston, Little Jordan Humphrey, all of the greats on tonight's slate. Let's cram.
I suffer from a debilitating condition known as atrophic chockitis.
Peter's one of the greatest depositors I've ever seen.
Trust the process. Let's go. Let's go.
I got auto match with Levitan. This is bullshit.
If I just go the other way in that 66, I win all the money. All the money.
If I had 150 lineups, I'd win too.
Process over results.
Illuminati make a bitch go crazy. I don't know which one of these my baby. Bust out AP, coach 5 bullets in your head like KD. Bust it, bitch go bust it. And I had 10 pints with me in Russia.
Hey everyone.
Good evening, GM. Legit weather concerns tonight? Weather concerns weren't even on my radar. Do I need to go see what Kevin Roth is saying about the weather? God damn it. I didn't even know I had to worry about weather. I was supposed to worry about weather last night, and now I need to worry about weather again? Come on. It's general pattern here is wet, but not to the degree of San Francisco. We won't see true downpours, winds 15 to 20 miles an hour. Get out of here, Paul. There's no weather concerns. I mean, we're dealing with two Hall of Fame quarterbacks. You think a little drizzle in Seattle is going to slow them down? No. Jameis Winston, Geno Smith, these guys could play in a fucking tornado, man. Any thoughts on the top overall play? You guys are we can't even do pleasantries, a little bit of foreplay. Say, I like it when you guys say good evening to me. How are you doing? You guys just yelling at me to release the Sims. We will release the Sims, but let's ease into it. Mike Diamond says, Ben the Bettor made you a celebrity. Finally, some fame for Pete. I know. I'm getting the Ben the Bettor bump. He used a clip from my show with Osimo on Friday while announcing his new tout site, I believe. It's going to be a Slack channel, The Evil Empire. I'm very excited for Ben the Bettor. I loved the video. I thought it was really well done, and I'm excited for him to kind of formalize his presence within the DFS community. It's been a lot of sparring, a lot of tit for tat, and now he's ready to roll. Ben the Bettor has my full support, and I'm extremely excited for him in this new chapter of his life. Yes, Christopher Garcia says Traequan Smith for all the money tonight. I was racking on Spags during Splash Play today because he wanted to put Traequan Smith in the captain spot. And I said, wait. We don't even know if he's going to play. He is going to play. He's off IR. He's on the active list. I do think it's safe to be a little concerned about what his role might be tonight in his first game back. I expect we still see a decent amount of Kenny Stills with Deontay Harris out. But I will say we try to take advantage of these situations. We talked about Foster Moreau this morning on the GPP lineup review. And because there wasn't content all week talking about Foster Moreau as this great $2,500 pump play, he doesn't come in super popular. And I think the same might happen tonight with Traequan Smith. He's just been kind of out of sight, out of mind, not a lot of content, people banging the drum for Traequan Smith. And now we get him active here. When I was looking at the Sims, he does look like a decent leverage play here relative to his frequency. So let's go ahead and pull this up. We'll just get right into it. I'm done with the foreplay. I'm feeling good. Let's add to this to the stream. So this is running it with the baseline inputs. This is a weird one tonight because we have a low over under 41.5. Seattle is a 4-point home underdog. These were my inputs from earlier when I was really messing with it. Let's get these back to normal here. So the implied point total for the Saints here, 22.8, and the Seattle Seahawks, 18.8. And one thing that's also really interesting about this game, and I was DMing with Justin Freeman, Run the Sims is his baby, the man behind the Sims. He was pointing out that the Saints are on an almost historical pace as far as their rush rate. Their rush rate is insane here. We very rarely will see a default input up here over 50% for the rush rate. So we know what this team wants to do. Sean Payton has been slowing it down incredibly, but I think it is it's a fun night to mess with the Sims because I think we can get some fairly unique lineups if we do play this more like a shootout, or we play it a little bit more with a Seattle lead, and lower this rush rate a bit. But let's go ahead and run the Sims here with these baseline assumptions and see how we are doing here. Okay. So optimal results, obviously Alvin Kamara is just a screaming top play. Here is giving us as our captain. What a great play he's been. The Seattle run defense has been awful. They've been giving up just a ton of yards to running backs. So no one needs me to sit here and tell you that Alvin Kamara is a great play. Looking at some of the other interesting captain spots to be overweight, I'm seeing around 9% ownership for DK Metcalf in the captain slot. He's coming in here. Uh-oh, did something happen? Uh-oh. My audio? Okay. Apparently I turned into a robot for a second. My bad. My bad. The Sims are overpowering my computer. Sorry. Apparently the audio went out when I was saying what a good play Alvin Kamara was. My computer said, yeah, no shit, Peter. They already know that. I'll turn you into a robot. We're back. What I was saying about DK Metcalf, I'm seeing his captain ownership around 8 to 9%. He's showing up here in the Sims at about 13.7%. I think that's a pretty good play there with DK Metcalf. The other one is Traequan Smith. I think his captain ownership is going to be really low, probably in the 1 to 2% range. We don't have it updated here. I was looking at ETRs. I was looking at Osmo. I'm seeing Traequan around 1 to 2% captain. He's showing up here in our Sims 5.3% of the time. So not the worst play there. I think some of the interesting situations tonight is basically how Traequan Smith's return impacts the pass catchers like Marquez Callaway, and how Rashad Penny's return impacts Collins. And you'll notice here that Collins is now really getting squeezed out. He's only showing up here in 10% of the lineups. He's barely showing up as an optimal captain, and his ownership is going to be far greater than this. So, I mean, talk about getting rugged for Alex Collins. He goes from a near bell cow back last week to virtually not even being playable here, according to the Sims. He's just going to get squeezed too much by Rashad Penny, who, you look at the salary. Rashad Penny's 2,600. Alex Collins is here at 7,400. So there's just way too much of a disparity there. And because Rashad Penny, I think it's safe to assume he's going to get a decent amount of the rushing workload. He is showing up in these lineups 33% of the time in the flex, 4% in the captain. So if you're doing any kind of using the custom lineups here tonight on Run the Sims, you're not going to get a lot of Alex Collins. I think you're going to have to bully the optimizer to get Alex Collins. And I think that's just going to be tough to do to make the math work tonight. But he is probably a pay up to be a contrarian play if you think you know better. If you say, hey, Rashad Penny is made of glass, the team loves Alex Collins, he's going to get all the work, then I think you can take that stand. We can see what the default inputs are here. We have Alex Collins for a 40% market share of rushing, 42.6% target market share. And then we have Rashad Penny, though, right on his heels, 30% market share, 25.6% TD market share. And then they don't throw to the backs a ton. And so this is fairly spread out. So we're kind of assuming that Rashad Penny is going to be in more of a 1B situation to Alex Collins, where they're used a little bit more interchangeably there. So it's just tough to get the math to work out on Alex Collins tonight. Am I still Robo, Pete? Am I fine? Am I good now? Come on, guys. I need good feedback here if I'm still Robo, Pete. Let's look at Yes, and this is a good point to for Nick to clarify here. The captain is based on the Sims. You're getting 8% equity. So leverage is probably not the right word in this scenario. It's just simply saying that he is showing up in the simulated winning lineups more often than we're projecting current ownership. So I don't think you're getting a ton up on the field. I mean, especially if you're playing in 3 max or something like this. I think this is more to help you dial in your exposures. You know, if you're doing a 150 max set, knowing that you can get above the field here and the math kind of bears that out. But if you're looking for kind of the true, leverage plays, we are probably looking more at a DK Metcalf. We're looking at a Traequan Smith. A Freddie Swain is someone that I think is projecting decently, it's a hard pill to swallow because you're like, what, the third wide receiver on a Geno Smith offense? How can I get excited about that? But we're seeing him here about 3% of the time, and the field is just not going to use Freddie Swain as a captain, especially in 3 max in single entry stuff. Let's see here. The magic sauce for tonight. We don't have one of those absolute screaming, Derrick Henry captain, Leonard Fournette captain, but I do think looking at the flex ownership, I do think I just mentioned Freddie Swain. I mean, look at this here. He's appearing in the flex 30% of the time, and we're only seeing him with about an 11% ownership there. I don't think hand builders want to go to Freddie Swain. We're seeing kind of similar with Geno Smith. We are seeing him appear in 50% of our sims, and his flex ownership, we got it here at 27.8%. I think it's going to be a little higher than that. ETR has it at about 40%. But even then, we're getting a little bit of a leg up on the field if they are underplaying Geno Smith. So we can take a look at some of these custom lineups, see if anything stands out. And then I think we can mess with some of the inputs a little bit here before this game starts. So right out of the gate, with a frequency of 20, we are seeing Rashad Penny captain lineup, Tyler Lockett, Geno Smith, Kamara, DK Metcalf, Traequan Smith. This lineup looks pretty damn good to me. The product own is getting a little pulled down because we don't have the Traequan Smith ownership in here, but I do think this would be a pretty unique lineup with the Rashad Penny captain as well as the Traequan. So this to me looks like a nice kind of contrarian single entry 3 max lineup. We can go down the board here. We're seeing a lot of 4-2s here at the top. This is a DK Metcalf, Rashad Penny, Lockett, Geno Smith with Alvin Kamara and Ty Montgomery coming back. I love that double running back lineup there for the Saints, just knowing how run heavy they are. The story that this lineup tells makes a ton of sense to me, but you can see from the product own, this is going to be a far more popular construction just because DK Metcalf, I think, is going to be the second most popular captain. Maybe not. Maybe Tyler Lockett will be the second most popular captain, but both him and DK will be right there. We can scroll down. We can see some of these off the board. I mentioned Freddie Swain. It feels crazy to do it, but we're seeing a couple Freddie Swain lineups appear 14 times here. This is basically a Geno Smith kind of onslaught. Geno with Lockett, Metcalf, and Freddie Swain with Alvin Kamara and Traequan coming back. That looks kind of interesting to me. But yeah, as you can see here, scrolling down, a lot of the usual suspects at captain. This one's pretty interesting. A 5-1 with Traequan Smith at captain, Kamara, Stills, Jameis Winston just playing DK Metcalf coming back, and also the Saints D. Lot of 3 tight end chat from Nick Schubat here. We have to shout out Nick once again. We talked about his lineup on the GPP review tonight. Nick had a $100,000 bank in the SPY. And that is pretty good if I say so myself. So congratulations again to Nick. Christopher Garcia saying what the field is going to do. The math says he's not dust without Russ. And it sounds like he is going to not get played by hand builders who think he is dust. So I am plenty on board with Freddie Swain tonight. He has been on the field a ton. Pulling up Cody Main's article over at ETR, 64.8% of snaps, running a route on 68.8% of dropbacks. That is that's very good usage for his price tag. So I am all on board Freddie Swain as being a solid play tonight. Yeah, I think it's very tough to get to any other of the Seattle running backs. Travis Homer 2,400 and DJ Dallas 5,200. He's only showing up in the Sims 10% of the time. I think that's going to be too rich for me. Let's go mess though with some of these inputs here, because I do think it will be interesting to see. Give me a suggestion here of how we want to play it. Basically, I want to switch this up where we bring down the Saints rush rate. Why don't we say Seattle is able to kind of control this game at home? Let's say Seattle wins like a 27-20 kind of game. Let's say that with Traequan Smith back and in a negative game script, we get the Saints rush rate, down to more something reasonable, like a 45%. And then let's boost the Seahawks rush rate up to, 43% seems reasonable. Pete Carroll gets a lead. He'll definitely be willing to run it. And then let's see what we get here. So we're still seeing just outrageous captain usage for Alvin Kamara. We're still seeing DK Metcalf at a 15% clip. One thing that's really interesting here is we see Tyler Lockett take a ding. Tyler Lockett was up there over 10%. Otherwise, let me check what it was in the default there with Tyler Lockett. He was showing up 11% of the time before. He drops down to 7% here. So to me, that is kind of help solidifying DK Metcalf as one of the better kind of game script plays, to see him at this 15% captain slot, regardless of the game script there. I think that's helpful. And I also think it's kind of interesting that even it shows just how run heavy the Saints are. Even when we drop their rush rate to 45% in a negative script, Jameis Winston isn't popping that much. Jameis Winston still, he comes down from even 10% all the way down to 5% here in the captain. So pretty interesting there that Jameis Winston, it's hard to get him to pop. He is expensive here at 11.8. Let's see what some of these lineups look like in this scenario. Someone was mentioning the 3 tight end lineup. There's a Juwan Johnson sighting for you. Juwan Johnson showing up in a couple of these. Doesn't look too bad. When I was looking at the default Sims here, Juwan Johnson stood out. He was appearing in 19% of winning lineups, and it looked like his flex ownership was going to be around 13%. So definitely the stamp of approval there a little bit on Juwan Johnson. Some more Rashad Penny captain lineups here, and all kinds of Alvin Kamara. He's just too big of a part of their offense. And it is hard to find a lineup. Can we scroll and find a lineup that doesn't have Alvin Kamara in these top lineups? I bet it's basically impossible. It's basically impossible for Alvin Kamara not to show up in one of these top ones. I think this is probably a dumb exercise. Look at this little Jordan Humphrey sighting. I will say, when I was looking at my super large field 20 max stuff, like 150,000 person contest, that $3 20 max on DraftKings, little Jordan Humphrey was looking kind of nice as a guy who is not going to be owed whatsoever. I am hedging my bets here. I do not want my brand associated with little Jordan Humphrey, but also, if I bank a large tournament with little Jordan Humphrey, I do want it on the record. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now. Any other inputs you guys want me to mess with? I do think we could tweak the Alex Collins stuff and just see if we can get him to being a decent play, because I do think it's fair to say, what if Rashad Penny isn't ready for a full workload here? And, let's just mess around with this. Let's just say if we go, back to like a 55% here, and we bring him down, Rashad Penny, back down to like a 15%. And let's just boost his market share TD, 8 percentage points, 50, and we can bring this down to 17. And maybe we boost his rush rate or his pass rate to 8 and bring his down to 1, something like that. Maybe another couple percentage points here. Now I'm just really, messing with the knobs. But I want to see if this can get Alex Collins in here at all, or if this is just still, the math is just not going to support it. Dun-dun-dun. So in this scenario, when we do tweak that, we see him showing up in far more lineups. So I think this is pretty instructive to how fragile the sims are to the inputs. And I know this is a pretty big jump going up from, 15% in market share of rushing, but that could be the difference in 3 to 4 carries. So as much as I was saying, Alex Collins doesn't look like a good play with the baseline assumptions, if you want to take a stand, if you want to say, I don't think Rashad Penny is going to be that involved in the Alex Collins show rolls on, I think the math is now showing us that he's a pretty decent play then. He ends up showing up 35% in the flex, 4.6 captain, and that is going to be more than the field is going to use him. So I think especially for you hand builders out there, and this is why I love having these sim results, because you can go in here and as long as you're being smart about it and not doing anything too crazy, you can tweak these inputs and you can do the same stuff with the tight ends. If you think Juwan Johnson separates from Adam Troutman, go knock yourself out and adjust this market share of receiving yardage. Obviously don't have enough time tonight to do all of those things. But I do think it is helpful for figuring out how the sims are accounting for those inputs relative to the salary. Let's see this. Did you see Brady 600 ball guy just won BTC from FTX via Tom's Twitter? This reads like gibberish to me. I have seen Tom Brady doing FTX ads, but I don't know what this means. I think I missed it. Lou, do I have fire prop plays? I mean, boy, do I have fire prop plays. I need to see if the line moved on this, but I did hit a prop earlier today. Let's see if this line is still good. I'm actually curious on here. So I took Alvin Kamara over 24.5 combined rush and receiving yards, and DK Metcalf over 4.5 receptions. And it looks like now the Kamara line has just moved up a smidge to 125.5. So not too different there. I will post this link if you guys want to tail me on this. I've been doing pretty well with props. I was rugged last night on Jimmy Garoppolo. We were 14 yards away from that Pittman, Jimmy Garoppolo pick'em hitting. And then of course he throws that interception at the end of the game. I think we were going to get there otherwise, but I was looking at this on another book. I mentioned it here in the tweet. It was over 128.5 for Kamara, and it was getting steamed hard on the over to -145. So that tells me that this 124.5 line is pretty damn good. And when I was looking at it in the Sims prop tool, it agreed. Median scrimmage yards for Alvin Kamara there up at 150 yards. That looked good to me there with Alvin Kamara, and everything just kind of seems to be lining up for Kamara in this game here. Cody had an interesting nugget in his article about Kamara as well, about Seattle. Yeah, Seattle has been absolutely abused by opposing running backs this season, allowing the league's third most DraftKings points, 32, to the position, good for 165 or 186.5 yards per game. So definitely feels like a good spot here for Kamara. And then the DK Metcalf one, this was 4.5. I also saw it at another book, and the over was getting steamed hard there at -145. And we had a pretty favorable projection on him with the prop tool at Run the Sims there. So over 4.5 receptions, looking good here with his median at 6. So that was what I noticed earlier. I can see here, I went through basically all the props that were on here, although a couple got added since I looked. You Adam Troutman heads there. Let's do one of these because this is one of my favorite tools for on Run the Sims. And basically my process with these is I like seeing what the Sims prop tool has for it. And then I like checking a few other books and seeing where the money's coming in, seeing where the steam is. And with those things, I can help kind of try to ID if these are good bets or not. So I can go in here, I can do Adam Troutman, receiving yards, I believe it was 13.5. And obviously the over under juice isn't relevant in this pick'em here because we're just trying to see what the tool has, but this can come in handy if you're looking at specific price sensitive stuff. We have him at a median of 16 receiving yards. So not an awful over on Adam Troutman. If you have any conviction, we can look down here. Let's see, Ty Montgomery. How is Ty Montgomery looking here? What was his line? 6.5 receiving yards. Let's see. We can calculate. Okay, so slight lean to the over. Underdog always baiting us into these overs here. Did we add any on the Seattle side? We got some Gerald Everett props, 21.5 receiving yards. Gerald Everett, it's been a tough scene for him. He's basically in a full-blown timeshare with Will Dissly now. What do we have? Gerald Everett, 21.5 receiving yards. We got him at right at 22. So that doesn't look too good to me. I wouldn't mind playing the under on Gerald Everett there. I think he's just so touchdown dependent. How many receptions do we have him at? 2 receptions. Let's see what that does for Gerald Everett. Yeah, right on the dot there. So I'm staying away from the Gerald Everetts, though I definitely lean towards the under there. Pete only plays NBA when there's an NFT in the prize pool. This is correct. I did try to win a toad the other night. I don't play a ton of NBA. I am overwhelmed enough with DFS and NFTs. Maybe we'll get in those NBA streets eventually. It does look fun. I like playing Showdown NBA. I get overwhelmed by main slate NBA stuff, and I'm tethered to my computer enough as it is. I don't need to be tethered to my computer all night. Here, we'll check one more for you here, and then we are going to drop off the show. Alex Collins under and rushing. So we have him at 49.5 yards on Underdog. Let's see how that looks. 49.5, change receptions to rushing yards and calculate. Under looking real good there. Thank you for pointing that one out to me. We might have to hit that right now. Let's see. I still like that Kamara over, but I am going to grab this Alex Collins under. So let's mix and match with that one. I'm going to do the Alvin Kamara over, the Collins under, and we are going to bet this. And if you want to tail me on this, there you go. There you go. Pete, you mushed Traequan Smith earlier, said he was going to start. Now he is and probably gets 15 DraftKings points. Is that a mush? If Traequan Smith gets 15 DraftKings points, I think that's the opposite of a mush, Matt. But thank you. All right, guys. Good luck tonight. Good luck with your Underdog pick'ems. Good luck with your Showdown lineups. If you guys want to come hang out in the Deposit Kingdom Discord, would love to have you. Link down below. Also, keep an eye out for the Week 8 DraftKings Rake-Free Deposit Kingdom Tournament. I should have the link for that by tomorrow afternoon. I'll post it in the Discord for those of you who want the first come, first serve. All right, good luck tonight, guys. Enjoy the game. Get some wins.